and I'm the Economic Development Manager for the City of Boca Raton. Joining us today, we have Maricela Cotilla. She is the Executive Director of Sales at Alina Residencies, a beautiful property in downtown Boca Raton. And we also have Chris Franciosa. He is the Principal Agent at the Atlas team with Compass, and he is representing the Enclave on Fifth Avenue. Beautiful project there as well. I'd like to take a moment, if you will. We'll start with you, Maricela. Introduce yourself, give us a little background on the project that you're currently working on. And I know it's a huge, beautiful project, so take as much time as you need.
Very well. Thank you, Jessica, and thank you all for inviting me here and be part of this event. We at Alina are very proud to be part of, obviously, in Boca, and we represent one of the largest developments that are currently in pre-construction. Okay, Alina is 121 residences for phase 1. Phase 2, when it comes online, will have completed for a total of 310. The residences at the north, which is the building that we're building now, we have 121 residences and villas. Okay, price points are from 1 million to 6 million. And that 1 million is a 1-bedroom with a den for roughly about 1,400 square feet. The largest ones are 4,800 square feet with also wraparound terraces, and they are closer to 5 million to 6 million. We have some beautiful, beautiful amenities, and actually it's the amenities that win the show at Alina. We're almost 9 acres, and what we have is 32,000 square feet in the first building of what we call the amenity deck. It's green space with fountains, and we have water features, we have fire pits, we have cabanas, and your backdrop to that is the Boca Raton Resort. So as far as having free green space, there is nothing like it. It's unique. And then, of course, 24/7 concierge, valet, spa, his and hers, relaxation room, Himalayan salt room, club room for a venue. We're a lock and leave environment in the center of Boca, and we can't be prouder of our developer, Alad International, and the successes we've had with the assistance of Boca, because obviously we're the center of everything, and it's where it's happening. Come by and see us.
Excellent. Thank you, Maricela. We've had the privilege of touring the property, first as a hole in the ground, and now as it's coming out of the ground and the top off, and the views from there. Incredible. Aside from all the amenities, I mean, the views of the golf course overlooking the resort, you can't beat it. Chris, I'm not as familiar with your project, so I'm hoping you can provide us some insight onto the Enclave and give us some overview.
So Chris Franciosa, Principal Agent of the Atlas team at Compass. Our team is made up of about 40 different agents from different walks of life and locations. So we cover everywhere from Jupiter all the way down to the Keys. And the project that we're talking about today is the Enclave at Fifth Avenue, which is made up of 3 single-family residences. The first home is up and complete. As luck would have it, the CO should be issued tomorrow. And then we have the world-renowned Stephen G, Interiors by Stephen G, coming in on Monday to put his finishing touches on the first completed spec home, which is currently listed at $14.5 million, about 8,000 square feet under air, 11,000 square feet total. Mitch Koenig of Affinity Architects did a masterful job working on very unique lots. So it's over an acre in total, and they have bifurcated that into 3 separate lots. But we do have ultimate flexibility in the project for the purchaser of the northernmost lot, which is completed, to purchase the middle lot or the entire parcel and add green space to the existing home. Or they could take the home as it is and we'll move to construction on the next lot immediately. But the actual flow of the home is amazing. It's a very deep, direct intercoastal lot in the no-wake zone right by the bridge. Fifth Avenue is one of the premier streets in all of Boca Raton, and it is really tough to find a unique asset like this. It really brought some California living to Boca. So no corner joist. The developer's actually an engineer, So the way they designed this house with his skill set and Mitch's together is really a marvel. And I'd love for you guys both to take a tour. And I think it's going to showcase even better once Stephen's done. So we have some big plans, and I think once that furniture is in, and now that we're reaching, a better situation with showings in the pandemic, I think the traffic that Maricella's seeing and that we're seeing is really ramping up.
So good transition topic right there, Chris. Great about the project. I watched the build out go on. I drive down that Fifth Avenue Shops area. I live in Central Boca, but we take that road a lot. We have a Jeep. We take the dog down there. I mean, that is just a great location in Boca Raton, right by Alina, by the way.
One thing I will mention is a lot of the calls we've gotten because of the site fence. They say it's 3 homes, but the way the single home is designed, some people think that single home is actually the 3 units. So they think that there's 3 actual units on a home. That is 1 house. So people who
pretty sizable
aren't sure whether that's 3 units or 1 that is just the first of the 3.
Yeah, it's a pretty sizable unit from what I've seen, and you have a lot of green space. A lot of people have double lots over there, and there's a lot of who lives there. It's kind of the who's who of the city as far as who's living there. But you did mention the traction in the pandemic, and really the reason why we're here today is because although our office primarily works corporate, we're seeing a lot of executives move into the area. Honestly, we're busier than ever with the pandemic because people are getting sick of living. At close quarters is a game changer when you're forced to live like that, and you realize you have options with technology and you can work anywhere. So we're seeing a lot of executives come to the area looking for housing and all of that. So that's basically how this got on our radar. Is Maricela and her team sent out something about some amazing numbers that you've had, sales numbers during the pandemic. If you can go into that, I mean, they're pretty profitable.
Love to. So what's interesting is, we as a company, of course, we're Douglas Elliman, but with Alad as a developer and the marketing team has been amazing as far as providing outreach to the communities that we know that are feeders, in particular the Boca Raton. So with that being said, during the pandemic, we were able to sell predominantly some of the larger residences. So you're looking at an excess of over $16 million, that we were able to move. How we did that was a lot of it was virtual. We did a lot of virtual presentations. And what I would have to add is in Boca, as you know, it's important to understand just where everyone's coming from. And there's a good mix of Northeast. And now we're also seeing a little bit of Midwest because we are getting quite a bit of calls from Chicago, Boston. And as of the last 6 months, we started to see some people from California. In fact, even this week alone, we did a presentation. One of my colleagues did a presentation with an agent who brought a couple from California, LA, I believe in particular. I think what we're going to see is more of this. And Alina in particular, because you're looking at a span of the largest development with almost 9 acres and a tremendous amount of green space, we are being able to check off the boxes of what people are looking for today. And I think that is key, very, very critical. And so I think Alina's success thus far has been really location and amenities. And it doesn't hurt when you stand on 32,000 square feet and look at golf course. And if you're up high, you see ocean. So it's been really, really a key to the success, which I think will continue and will thrive in that.
Yeah, so the last 3 projects we've worked on, it's so funny that we have not had this discussion before in full disclosure, but we have companies removed from New York, Chicago, and California. Isn't that funny? So we're tapping into the same markets. But Chris, before we get into the amenities with what everyone's looking for, everyone's voting with their dollars these days. They want a better lifestyle and certainly low taxes, and we have that here. But go into the project, what you're seeing in your buyer, the market that you're seeing, and then we'll go into some of the amenities that are people asking for. And are they affected by COVID? Do people want bigger offices in their homes and their units now? I don't know. So we'll get into that. But first, Chris, tell us what you're seeing.
Yes, so Maricela really touched on the key feeder markets. Is obviously the Northeast is the obvious one. I think a lot of the city living and being confined to the vertical spaces. When you come down, even at Alina, even though it is somewhat vertical, the horizontal green space changes everything, right? So when they have the ability to still have the low maintenance lifestyle of a condo, and then also have the green area, we are seeing a lot of the executives, a lot of the high net worth individuals who've been taking advantage of SALT reform and the reduced tax implications for them as individuals and corporations. You've started to see some of the larger corporations even moving their headquarters here. So we have seen a large influx from California, like she said, and we've seen that in the high-end residential probably for a year and a half now, really since SALT started. And Toronto has also spurned a large influx of Canadians coming down here, mainly from Toronto, with a lot of the increased flight patterns and everything we're seeing here. So Northeast California, Midwest, she hit on, and we're even seeing some Colorado. Florida and Texas are the catcher's mitts right now for the pandemic, and we just kind of leapfrog Texas as the number one. So as terrible as it's been, I think Florida is going to be a major beneficiary of what everybody has unfortunately had to experience. And I think the last 2 weeks have made it even worse for people wanting to get out of cities where they may not feel safe anymore. It's just a tough world we're in, but Florida offers kind of the best of everything. So that is really the influx of the demographics. If you want to get into the specific amenities and things that people are looking for, obviously with the changing dynamic of working remotely, a home office has become critical and a need for a lot of the buyers. And whether they're looking for a turnkey office or they're adding a bedroom to their search criteria that they can then convert into an office, that is definitely something we're seeing. People are now also wanting home gyms, where sometimes that was going out of style before, where they had all of these beautiful gyms down the street, but now not knowing if they're comfortable frequenting public places, they want to create that environment in their own primary residence, so they don't have to rely upon any third parties. So home gym, home office, and obviously the outdoor living style, which Maricela touched on with amenities and green space. Those are really good factors that we're seeing in luxury. And luckily, Florida has plenty of luxury properties that offer all of these amenities, plus the boating, which is what kept us sane down here during the pandemic. If you had your own dock, you were not limited to what you can do because that's your mobile home. You do whatever you want on the water or congregated. So it was amazing to be in Florida and have some type of freedom there.
Yeah, very good, because you wonder what people are looking for and if it'll be a long-term shift, if it'll be a trend. But having a bedroom, whether it be a gym or an office, it can always convert it to something else, whether it be for a while, there were the billiard rooms and all of that, and mud rooms. So Maricela, you have a building that has a lot of amenities in it. We've been lucky to see some of them. What are some of the key selling points, the first wow places you take people when they come from the up north and show them the building, the property specifically?
So when you're looking, and hold on, just technology here, there we go. So when you're looking today and what people are asking about, obviously, I think piggybacking on what Chris just said, you want amenities. No longer, during this pause, one of the things that we all learned is that we needed just a little bit more space, right? So whether it was an office or a gym or just a place to sit and read and relax, because never before have families found themselves with a knock on the door and there comes all your college kids with all their laundry and their bags and saying, "Where do I go, Mom? And by the way, I've got to get online." So now you've got to, right? Now you've got to share the dining room and divide it in three. And the husband and the wife look at each other and say, this is too small. What have we done? So now everybody on this pause is saying, if it should happen again, are we in the right space? Okay, do we want a gym? Do we want to bring in our parents so we can see them? Because we also learned that for those that are caregivers, they couldn't go visit their loved ones. So then it was important, do we bring them back in? So then,
good point. Very good point.
It was important because we're dealing with, certainly on the affluent side and we're on the luxury side, you're looking at a lot of situations. You're you need to really reassess the needs of the space. The amenities are critical because if you want to step outside, having a club room that you can go sit and have a conference call is critical. Having a place that if you want to just go down with the spas open, that you can sit and relax, everyone's asking. Everyone's wanting to know, what more do I have? It wasn't enough because we are not living within our four walls anymore. And so that's where, when you look at South Florida, you're thinking, do I have the ability to walk where I want? Do I have the ability to take my pet outside? That's another thing. How many areas do we have? We all see dogs in Boca, but in truth, not all the buildings are readily pet friendly.
You have a dog park there, don't you?
We certainly have a dog park, and we certainly allow, and we actually don't have any restrictions because we're finding that a lot of people have more than one pet as well. So that became an issue. It was a lot of things. Go back even to the kitchens. So when you're sitting in an apartment in New York and you're paying thousands and thousands of dollars and you have a galley kitchen, it doesn't work. Today, a lot of when your families are home, if you think about what you're doing with your children, you're baking cookies, you're doing pizzas together, you're making that part of the family experience during this pause. And again, you're reassessing your size of your dwelling. Where are you? And it's as simple as, when I'm staring out the window, what am I looking at? And what do I want to look at? Do I want to look at a golf course? Do I want to look at an ocean? That is critical. That is absolutely critical. And that's one of the questions. I'm curious to know, one of the other questions that we're getting, okay, is what's happening with the air quality in the buildings. First time. I don't know if you've ever had any buildings that you've represented where somebody really wants to know the filtration system of the waters, of the air, everything that's going on. So the answers and the questions that we're having today really have specifically related to COVID and this pause that we've all been living.
We're seeing that on the corporate side. We're seeing corporate execs, and they're bringing in employees. Let's say they're bringing in 20, 30, 100 employees, whatever it is. They're asking those questions now from the perspective of the building's filtration, the cleaning applications that are done, not just on the inside of the building, but out exterior. And I mentioned this on a last call we had. Someone had mentioned going to, I think it was a copper type of, for all communal areas, because there's some science behind that for cleanliness and antiseptic. So it's interesting that the same conversations are happening on the residential side and on the corporate side. And Chris, I'll let you chime in, because I'm sure you're getting these same types of questions, especially if you're building out of the ground on a spec home. You could probably put whatever people want. I mean, budgetary reasons, and just if you could just unmute yourself. But
yeah, when you're building custom and you're building single family amenitized lifestyle properties, the one thing that Mr. Brennan did at the Enclave, which is unique and I think necessary for this high-end buyer, is we left about 1,200 square feet above the showroom garage raw, and we did that for a reason, to allow some customization for a buyer. So if you wanted to make that a 2-bedroom guest house, detached, separate ingress and egress, if somebody wanted to make that a yoga studio, a gym, there's the ultimate flexibility where that buyer feels that they have the ability to customize a spec home. So having that luxury and that ability is a driving force. And the way they developed this property, like Maricela said, the air quality, all precautions were taken to make sure that, this is the greenest space, safest space. Everybody wants to ensure that they have, the electric ready outlets for the Tesla cars. Everything that you could possibly want has been thought of and amenitized within the construction. But the real key I see for that high-end buyer in the spec world is to have their own touch on it, right? So allowing them that ability is unique. It can be a music studio, anything that their heart desires at that price point. I think they really get a different feel if they can finish it off. And Stephen will do a great job in this particular project, making the interior perfectly livable.
Chris, do you have other projects in Boca Raton?
We have other developers that have multiple units. Nothing like a outgo out of the ground in nature. But at this point, most of them are 2 and 3 clusters of land that developers have acquired, and they're building multiple specs on them. Nothing like an Alina that has
Okay, just curious.
Project sizes, in the high end. Once you get over, 10 to 20 units of something of that criteria, the sales cycle becomes much longer, right? To be able to survive that sales cycle in this environment with brokerages. So you want to have something that's not in a risk.
So Maricela, we'll jump back to you. I have a lot of friends, colleagues that are in the real estate business, and they're doing virtual Facebook Live tours. I actually watched one myself the other day. I felt like I was literally walking through. It's amazing now in technology how you can actually see and feel, get a vibe for a piece of property or a home or whatever it is. And they're relatively quick, which I like. Is that something you guys have had to pivot to, or were you already doing that with your out-of-state people, your prospects? How does that work?
So we have been doing some of those for large groups. So lots of times within our outreach, what we would do is we would piggyback into an office's marketing meeting, and what we would do in their sales meetings, and we would introduce Alina, and at that point we would do a virtual presentation. So we were ahead of the curve, I would say. DEDM did a great job in doing that, and our marketing and Alad really fostered that extremely well. What happened is we did have to pivot a little bit because the individual presentations are different. And so at that point, not only do we do the virtual presentations and the walkthrough of the residents, which we do an incredible job, and unlike many, we have views on almost every residence. So that was key. So we did that. I will tell you that it takes a little bit of education, because obviously now you have buyers sitting in their Chicago condo, and I've got husband and wife, and we're doing everything from FaceTime because they want to see you. You're doing the presentation, the virtual presentation, and within that presentation, you're actually stopping slide by slide because they'll tell you, wait, what is that? So then you have to look at that slide, look at the moment, stop it. And we got very good at it. And that has been very helpful. Now, notwithstanding, nothing compares to touching it, right? But introductions, we've had a couple of sales that were sight unseen, which are wonderful.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wow,
so
amazing.
A savvy buyer understands what he wants. And you, Jessica, have done an incredible job of introducing Boca, and everybody understands the size and how we've grown and the benefit of being in the middle, I always say, of the road. So we're an hour away from Miami if we want to be part of that, and we're an hour away from Palm Beach and Worth Avenue if we choose that. And we're in the middle of 2 airports. So with that being said, you help us in that regard. Then all we do is say, okay, macro to micro, now you're in the center of Boca, cross the street and you're at the best restaurants, walk to the beach, ride bike to the beach, and then, by the way, let's go to the museum for the end of the evening. So that walkability is what everyone's looking for. It's a lock and leave environment. Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. I think Boca Raton really, I don't say it because I work for the city of Boca. I'm not paid to say this, but I love where I live. I love where I get to work. I mean, I just love it so much. And I'll tell anybody, I mean, I'm annoying about Boca Raton, but luckily that is kind of my job, is to sell it. But talking about a good job, you guys have done a phenomenal job, Alina, getting the word out in the Northeast about your project. Wall Street Journal, New York Times, all the publications that I read on a daily basis, because you have to kind of know that market, just really amazing, and getting inquiries from out of state and telling the story that we are aging younger. You know, we're not Boca del Vista as much as we all love Seinfeld. You know, it's like he was coming to town before the pandemic and I was trying to hunt him down. Kelly and I were like, he just needs to say into the microphone, good, better Boca, or, you know, Boca Raton, we have it all, but we couldn't, the pandemic. But anyway, so I really think you guys are doing a phenomenal job and really helping us spread the word. I think it does take a community. You know, we're Office of Economic Development, we're government, it's great, but we're government and we're going to tell you how great we are, but I really feel that we're great. Having you guys, I mean, you could invest your dollars anywhere in a project. You know, Alina could happen anywhere, and we're lucky to have it here in Boca. I mean, you're bringing us up to a higher standard. You're raising the bar. It's attracting new money. It's attracting new investment, which is great for tax base as well. You know, people look at it as a residential, and it is. Same with Chris, your project. I mean, the tax dollars. Same with when we work corporate. We're bringing jobs to the city, but we're also getting that tax base. So we have the services. It's a safe city. It's a clean city. And then we have the culture, like you mentioned, Boca Museum. I mean, we really do have it all, and I can't express that enough. You know, like how much we have. It takes a lot of time, money, and work to be Boca or any municipality. So you guys have really done a great job attracting new residents to the area that are also, they come to the area and they get invested in the city. They're going to the museums, they're walking to the local restaurants. And Chris, the Enclave is in a great location right there on Palmetto Park Road. So supporting local businesses, which is a big thing nowadays. Talk about how things have shifted. I find it in myself. I go to the smaller supermarket, I go to the green market. You know, you just try to support the person that's really doing the work. And that's a shift for us, my family, since COVID. So Chris, anything else as far as amenities or anything that you're seeing in the market, because you're doing spec homes and I'm sure you get a lot of calls about the property and what's the possibility there. And the first project that you built, I saw the renderings, it's beautiful. Has that sold?
No, we just put it on the market. We were actually going to wait until after CEO and after Stephen was done, but we shifted with the market and realized that based on the traffic and the demand that was coming from the relocations, that we had to get the eyeballs out there earlier, and we didn't want to wait. So we've had amazing traffic in the first 2 to 3 weeks on the market, and a lot of people are still interested and want to come back and see the finished product. So normally I don't like showing something like this at this stage of where it was until it's completed, because you get one chance for that first impression. But I think everybody, and I think Maricela touched on it, you did it. I mean, Jessica and Levy have been amazing for us at doubling and tripling down at really awareness on Palm Beach County, Boca, Delray. And I think everybody, I mean, if you see the amount of hits that are coming that we're being asked to speak on, people want to know more about Boca. So it's the education that this is not Del Boca Vista like Seinfeld. This is becoming a younger, hip, amenitized, and lifestyle community that people need to take. It's migrating north. Miami and Fort Lauderdale, as beautiful, and the amount of properties they have in the inventory. I think the stability sits in the Palm Beaches, in the Boca, and in the Delray. You see a lot less fluctuations on value and demand than you see in these gorgeous buildings in Miami where a lot of the lights are up, right? There's a lot of investment. So Boca isn't that, you're going to purchase and leave it vacant. I mean, this is a lifestyle. People don't need to rent the homes out. They purchase for themselves, for second homes, or for primary. There are still great investment opportunities, but this is a lived-in community.
It truly is. When we meet with corporate, we have people asking us not only on the residential side where they should live and what they should look at. Again, we work with the executives first, and then we work down with the employees. So it's not just executives. I want to make that clear. We don't just, but that's the person who's making the decision to come to Boca Raton. So we start there and then work down. But a lot of people look at schools immediately. That's before they look at housing. So that shows some sort of investment into the city. Like they're not just an investor, an international investment coming into Miami, which was so hot for so long. I mean, the market was on fire in Miami because of that international dollar, the dollars that were coming in.
Real residents coming here to experience Boca, which is
for a lifetime.
And sustainability. It lasts forever when people are living in it, right?
Totally, right. And they take care of the city, they take care of their property. there's a vested interest in the success of the city as a whole.
Absolutely. You know, Jessica, when you mentioned working local, that was another thing that I think it's been critical. And we have to understand that when it works very well. So as far as local, even with having Garcia Stromberg, which is a very well-known,
Yes.
well-established architectural firm in Boca, working hand in hand with us is part of the success story, correct? And then add to that, you have Moss as our general contractor, whom again is extremely, extremely experienced. And those are the factors that, by the way, a lot of buyers are now asking. Who is the developer? Talk to me about his experience. Talk to me about their ability to execute their plan. And I think that tells the story. And I think with even what we're seeing now, because you've got to think, a lot of people had their eye on Florida. A lot of people had their eye on Boca. But this pause has accelerated that.
Yep.
Because
Totally.
you're sitting in your cities and you're thinking, why am I waiting? Is there a bell?
Right. We're all reassessing everything. You know, you reassess everything. At this point, you have time to think about it. You realize, like you said, 3 people at the dining room table. Maybe we should move where we can walk to the beach. Maybe we should move where there's lower taxes, where we're, you know, maybe we can work remotely a few days a week. I think we're all seeing that. I just read an article in New York Post about a week or 2 ago that people that were staying in South Florida, that came to South Florida pre-COVID were actually staying in South Florida. So rental rates were going up because they said, you know what, the kids are out of school, right? So they got all summer to kind of tip a toe in the water and figure it out, and they rent. And look, I think we'll see. I don't first, I'm not a crystal ball, but I don't foresee us having a major issue with our real estate market in the coming months or years. Do you guys see anything?
I don't see it. In fact, Chris, you mentioned it. There are always winners and losers.
Right, always.
Always, in every game and in every environment, whether
it's sides to the market.
Absolutely, whether it's financial driven or unfortunately this one was not necessarily, the financial issue became after the after effect. South Florida is the winner. Boca Raton is a winner. And I think that just, even more so than, obviously I'm a neighbor, I live here. I've lived here for many years, so I'm going to look to this even stronger than I will in Miami, because this is our development has been very much a domestic play, and I think it'll continue to be that. But we are the winners. So how we handle ourselves in that regard is very important.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And we have to be sensitive as well, because we can't forget that the people that are coming here and I have had a really hard time, more so than us, because we've all been affected. But when we finish our day and we look at the news, we're still stepping outside and walking and having free space. It's not the same environment.
It's not. You're right. Good point.
So we have to be sensitive to that. But I think Boca is going to do well. In fact, I think we're not going to have this dead of summer that we've had in the past. I think this summer is going to be the new season.
At least for this year, because people are itching to get out. Yeah.
This year.
Maybe. I hope so. You're right, though.
Marcella nailed it. I mean, this is the time, and we're not having to talk and convince people to make the move to Florida anymore. They're calling us and saying, we're ready. What's available? When can we get in? And that short-term rental market has seriously spiked, and there is no short-term rental inventory right now. That's turnkey because it's all been gobbled up until somebody finds their place to purchase and close. So people are renting here just until they find the perfect home that they can move into. So we're in a perfect storm in real estate, and I think this is going to be the catalyst for the economy to come back. Lowest interest rates in almost history here. So affordability from rent versus own is now a real driving force that those that didn't think they could purchase, and lenders are going to be understanding of gaps in employment. So I think a lot of the concerns that buyers may have may go away when the lenders figure out how to underwrite around that explainable gap in employment. And we continue to get questions from the education we're providing on Boca and Palm Beach County and the migration about, is it a buyer's market? And that's the continuous, question we get. And our answer is not yet. This is still a seller's market because of low inventory and the demand. Last time we had a colossal real estate meltdown in 08, 09 was because there was gluttonous inventory. There was a
Right.
fabricated high. This is the complete polar opposite, where we have low inventory, high demand. And if you just look at supply and demand economics, is not a buyer.
Basic economics. Yeah. Bullish indicator.
Other markets, that question is relevant because there's going to be opportunity. Here, people need to understand that nobody's going to drop their pants or drop their price because of the pandemic. It's somewhat the opposite, that there's actually increased demand.
Yeah.
Very good.
Notwithstanding, Chris, I'm going to add to the fact that if you're going to sell, you're going to sell at the high number. Buyers are very sophisticated. At the luxury level, they want what they want. So it's not, and they don't necessarily want to, pull up their sleeves and start working on a project. They're not looking for a project. But you mentioned rates. The 30-year fix right now is 3.18%. Okay, 3.1.
Wow.
That's crazy. 15-year at 6. So smart money. I don't care. We all deal with the luxury level, Chris and I, but I can tell you that even at those rates, it's smart money that gets the loan. Smart money.
Buyers are actually leveraging now because even though they don't need to, it's silly not to at those rates. At 5 to 6%, they use their cash. At 2 to 3%, they're getting loans on properties that we've never seen loans on in the 5 to 8 million. Like, yeah, I'll take a 50% loan just because I can.
You can, yeah, it's available.
Economic sense.
Yeah. Excellent, guys. So did I touch upon everything? Did we discuss everything? We usually keep this to about 30, 45 minutes. We have some questions we can go to, I think. We have someone's asking about a restaurant. Someone does virtual architectural designs. Someone says, stop building, leave the city alone. Feels like a paid advertisement. We do get this periodically. Obviously, I've been here since 91, so I've seen the growth and the changes myself. But this is not a paid advertisement. I invited you both on. I wanted to hear your side of the story. I love knowing what's going on in our city. And I think the first conversation I had, Chris, full disclosure, I didn't even know where the Enclave was, but I was like, oh, I drive past that. Once they told me where it was, I knew what it was. But I mean, what an amazing project. I have to say it again. You both can be doing your business, your building, your sales out anywhere in the state, in the region, and having this luxury in Boca Raton for tax purposes, for attracting, nothing attracts a crowd like the existing crowd. So I think you're helping us change the story from a different perspective. Luxury for sure, with a private airport and our own hospital, and we have so many assets in the city of Boca Raton, which we have to thank because they've been here for decades, hundreds of years, or whatever it is. But I just wanted to make sure that everyone knew this is not a paid advertisement. Someone says, we just relocated from Massachusetts to Boca Raton. Our only regret is not having done it sooner. Yeah, that's. I'm going to end on that one. There's no question. And someone says they're proud of you, Chris. Charlotte says she's proud of you. Couldn't let you go. So is there anything to button up before the conversation? Obviously, a lot of times we've only done 2 of these before. I get questions afterwards, so I'd like to be able to come back to both of you. We do air this on our social media, and we will put this on our YouTube. And again, we have a lot of followers, hit 70,000 on YouTube as far as views, and 45 on social media. So we want to be able to reach out to you guys if we have anyone interested in looking at your properties. I think Kelly put the email addresses up, but if you want to just give them out just in case, please do so.
Sure. Go ahead, Maricela.
Chris, go ahead.
All right, so anybody can reach me relating to the Enclave at chris.franciosa@compass.com, and they can check more information out about the property on both the MLS at 140 Northeast 5th or BrennanEstateHomes.com, streaming below. And we're happy to field inquiries on this product and or any type of relocation to South Florida. Like I said, the Atlas team services Jupiter all the way to the Keys. So if you're thinking about making a move, we're happy to help. And we have somebody in every location to service your needs. And I can attest to the fact that Alina is one of the best projects in all of Florida, and the sales team over there, we love everybody, and they are great. So if we're looking for that type of living, there is nothing better than Alina right now.
Alina has certainly made its mark on the community for sure. They've come in, they're very welcoming. They've invited us on multiple tours, have told us every step along the way what you're looking to do, and it's just been great partners. I know I say it all the time, but might as well say it publicly. You've been a great partner to us, Maricela.
No,
so tell us about.
We can't do it without you. And again, this is I'm Maricela. I have some colleagues that work with me in the sales force. I've got Anne-Marie Dietz and Alejandro Salazar. And you can find us here almost 7 days a week. Let us know, make an appointment nowadays, because we are thinking of you and we're making sure that we're protecting everybody with social distancing. But we are located right here on Meisner Boulevard, 200 Southeast Meisner. And you're welcome to see our progress. You can see it every day. And nowadays, with an appointment, I'd love to show you our views, because you need to touch it, you need to see it. So hard hat tours are welcomed. We will take you up. I think we'll even give you, it's a great photo op, and we'll go ahead and take you up, and you can see what we have to offer. Again, it's only makes it easy because we are in the center of Boca. And with people like Jessica behind us and supporting us, we're gonna grow. And for those who think we don't want to see the growth, it's necessary. It's necessary. You can't get the services that you get today without having the growth. And so that's critical. And we are very sensitive to the green space and to the environment. So if you come see us, understand. Thank
There's
you.
a way to do it right. You're right, Maricela. And I think also, I know we're supposed to be buttoning this up, but of course I can't. You go to neighboring cities that haven't changed over the decades since we've all been here, and you wonder how they missed that, and now they're playing catch up. So I think as long as you do it right, there's a way to do it and do it well. And I think I don't have any say in that stuff. It's codes and all those way above my brain power. But the city of Boca Raton does a really good job. And our residents are great. They speak for and against, and that's their right. So I just think that you guys have done it well. And certainly look forward to seeing you both again. And I want to tour both properties again. I won't wear high heels, promise. Again, I won't wear them again. But obviously we'll stay on while Kelly will upload and take this offline. But thank you so much, both of you, for being here today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us. Chris, great seeing you as well.
Thank you. Good seeing you.